It's a hot night here at Citizens Bank Park, and as it turns out, it's a very emotional night here at Citizens Bank Park. Moments ago, Roy Halladay and Pat Gillick were placed on the Phillies Wall of Fame. They joined the likes of Mike Schmidt and a whole host of former Phils like Larry Boa, who was in attendance here tonight. All of the 2008, just about all the 2008 Phillies in the background there as Greg Luzinski walked up to the podium right after Dick Allen. John Kruk, of course, a member of the Phillies Wall of Fame. It was something that was introduced back in 1978 to include both the Phillies and the Philadelphia A's. When they moved over to this great ballpark, it just became the Phillies Wall of Fame. With the A's still there, Pat Burrell is in attendance tonight, not only because of the 2008 World Championship, because he is on the Wall of Fame. How many guys there will eventually be up on the Wall of Fame? You can count them. There's going to be a lot of them. And it was emotional. Brandy Halladay, along with her two boys, as Roy was placed on the Wall of Fame. Chooch pulled the drape off the plaque. That was emotional all by itself as Chooch laid a kiss on the cheek of Roy Halladay. And then Pat Gillick was also placed on the Wall of Fame, the architect of the 2008 World Championship. Brandy's speech was unbelievable, and it ended with a beautiful song that Brandy said helped mend her heart after Roy's passing last year. And then Pat, with his family sitting in the front row, walked up to the podium. He's an extremely emotional guy. He's a member of the Baseball Hall of Fame, but he was such a big part, the architect of the Phillies World Championship in 2008. And David Montgomery, the former president and current chairman, he pulled the drape off Pat Gillick's plaque, which is sitting out in left field. And Pat, with a very short, sweet speech, not only thanked the folks in Philadelphia, thanked the ownership group, and also thanked the Halladay family, because he had known Roy for so many years, and Brandy and the boys, and of course the victory lap, which eventually leads to the culmination of our ceremonies, which are going on right now down on the field. Hi, everybody. I'm Tom McCarthy. I'll be joined in just a little bit by John Kruk, Mike Schmidt, and Greg Murphy. To say that this Wall of Fame was emotional was an understatement. It was incredible to see Rich Dubee introduce Brandy Halladay, and then Brandy coming up and relaying the words that have helped make her so comfortable over the last several months, thanking the Philadelphia Phillies fans, saying that the Halladay family didn't know what to expect when they came to Philadelphia, but it was beyond expectations. And then after that, Pat Gillick, introduced by Jamie Moyer, who is back in town, and Pat recognizing all the hard work that was put into building the 2008 World Championship. Pat, as we mentioned, is an extremely emotional guy. This is an emotional night because it's a huge embrace by the Philadelphia Phillies fans for everything that was done in 2008 and beyond. It's hard to put into words how incredible each of the speeches were in their own right. But if you get a chance to go back and take a peek at it, please do, because there were so many refreshing words, not only about the Philadelphia Phillies of past, but also about the Philadelphia Phillies fans here and the future. So what was Doc all about? Well, he was about so much, and eventually he'll be in the Hall of Fame. But he was about a perfect game when he came over to the Philadelphia Phillies down in Miami. And then in the postseason, how about this? I mean, this was an incredible play by Carlos Ruiz to get Brandon Phillips for the final out of a no-hitter. So a perfect game in the regular season, a no-hitter in the postseason. Obviously, it didn't turn out the way the Phillies wanted it to because they didn't get to the World Series with Doc out on the mound. But, man, did he provide some special moments. And Pat Gillick, who also stuck around after he retired as the general manager to become the Phillies president for a couple of years, he will no doubt be entrenched into the minds and the hearts of the Philadelphia Philly fans and all those players that are down on the field for quite some time. So much more to come on a great night for baseball. It'll be Jose Urena and Zach Eflin both warming up as we speak. We'll have lineups at first pitch and also some other things going on with Toyota Alumni Weekend. Yeah, the doorbell's going to be ringing tonight, folks. I can hear it already. Get the dogs ready. Calm them down now. We'll be back right after this. Phillies baseball is brought to you by Xfinity, America's best internet provider, according to speedtest.net. By Toyota, the national clearance event is going on now. Toyota, let's go places. By Citizens Bank, official bank of the Phils. Visit citizensbank.com. And by Independence Blue Cross. Live fearless. Learn more at ibx.com. With Schmidt, presented by Acme Markets. As the Phils won the first two games of this series, Zach Eflin is heading in from the Phillies bullpen, just finishing up his warm-up tosses, trying to stop and start between all the ceremonies that took place just a little while ago. The lineup cards have been introduced. Earlier, we heard Brandy Halliday talk about her husband, Roy, and his induction into the Phillies Wall of Fame.
I really hope that from now on, instead of being sad for me or my family, that you'll celebrate Roy with us. Celebrate the man he was and the life we had.
One of the things that Brandy did say was, as much as she loved Roy Halladay, the baseball player, she wanted everybody to know that he was an even better husband and a better father to his two boys. They were part of the ceremonial first pitch before tonight's ball game. Kyle Kendrick, who Dan Baker introduced as Roy's kind of little brother, caught the ceremonial first pitch, as Kyle is back not only for this night, the Wall of Fame, but also because of the honoring of the 2008 world champion Philadelphia Phillies. David Montgomery pulled the drape off the plaque, presenting Pat Gillick, the general manager of the Phils. And we also got a chance to hear Pat recognize the Philly fans and the organization.
I wish to thank David Montgomery for taking a chance on someone who had worked 30 years in the American League. Yes, there is a difference about constructing a club in the National League and the American League. And I want to express my gratitude to the Phillies ownership who have supported me all these years. And a big thank you to our Phillies fans. You're absolutely the best. Go Phillies!
And the victory lap, which normally follows the induction into the Wall of Fame. We've got baseball and alumni weekend when we return to Citizens Bank Park right after these messages. To get this baby rolling against the Miami Marlins, and two of the Wall of Famers who are down on the field are back up here in the booth. Guys, I don't know. For me, it was the most emotional one that I have seen, and I saw yours, John. I saw yours, Michael. I mean, this was an emotional Wall of Fame tonight.
Absolutely. Roy was taken way too early, and that's, you know, the obvious statement. It affected so many people in a positive way. I mean, you know, Kyle Kendrick, there's so many guys around his life that were like Kyle Kendrick, you know, the little brother.
Yeah.
I was actually a little fearful of Roy Halladay when I first went to spring training and he was there. You know, his presence is you know, was crazy. Finally, when he gave me a big hug in the dugout one time, this pulled everything together with he and I. And
Hall of Famer was afraid of Roy Halladay. The Hall of Famer, yeah. John, was afraid of Roy Halladay.
He was intimidating.
Yeah,
he is. He was. And the Chooch kissing his plaque out there.
That's, I mean, that's all of it was.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're a dad, if you're a husband, I mean, if you're just a friend, I mean, that was just, as you said, Michael, taken way too soon. And, you know, Johnny, we've talked about how great it is to see everybody, but this was a moving night here at the ballpark.
Yeah, this was a tough one. You know, we had a tough one a couple years ago, or last year with Darren, and you know, this is, you know, I was listening to Brandy, but watching his two boys, yeah. And it was, you know, when they showed the video thing, it was tough on all of us, but it was especially tough on his two boys to sit and watch.
Well, now we have baseball as we transition. Sierra will lead it off against Zach Eflin. And the first pitch of the night is a fastball upstairs. We're underway. And it's 1 ball, no strikes. We're a little tardy, but that's okay. On a night like this, you can expect to be a little tardy after what we saw. Fastball in there, 1 ball, 1 strike.
Well, how about these Phils?
You know,
I've been away for a while.
Gabe called this an extremely important ball game because of the way the Phillies won the last 2. Try to win the series because that's been their goal. Just keep on winning series. Yeah, that's what they've been doing.
Gabe deserves a lot of credit. I've said that before. One of the things that he's instilled in this team, John, I'd like your opinion on this, is there's a fly ball in short right field. Is he's instilled in them the ability to play it 1 game at a time, to have a short memory. And that's one thing obviously you need to do, because actually that 4-game series, or four losses in a row quite recently going into Fenway, or actually 3 going into Fenway, could have been disastrous on a team that wasn't strong mentally.
Yeah, it's nice though when you lose 3, go into Boston, you lose a tough game in extra innings with Nola pitching, but then you have a guy coming behind him and Jake Arrieta that's been an ace for a few years now, to step in behind Nola and get that 1 win in Boston and really, set into motion what now they've done here in these first 2 games against the Marlins.
You know, the Nola Arrieta combination now, having pitched like they did in Boston, I think gives everybody the feeling that we can win 2 in a row anytime those 2 guys pitch. And look, Velasquez backs it up last night. And Pivetta, Velasquez, and Eflin. I mean, this is an unbelievably strong starting staff.
Well, they're on a nice run right now over this last spin around the rotation. Let's look at the rest of the Marlins lineup, brought to you by Xfinity, America's best internet provider, according to speedtest.net. Ryan Anderson just grounded out to the mound, and JT Realmuto and Justin Bour. Those are 2 difficult guys to get out. They will face Zach Eflin, 24-year-old from just outside of Jacksonville, who is 7-3 on the year, dealing with Realmuto, who's 1 for 8 in this series with a run scored. Got a fastball in there. It's 0-1. There are the numbers on Eflin. Last 3 games have been his rough patch of the season, an ERA of 6.92.
Well, the start in Cincinnati, T-Mac, wasn't it just the 1 inning?
Yeah, it was just the 1 inning.
And the rest he was dominant.
In fact, in that game, I know Gabe was torn because the Phillies weren't hitting, to let him even go farther than he did. No balls and 2 strikes to Realmuto. Outside, 1-2.
Now that ball did not hit the dirt.
Well, it must have.
Knapp threw it out.
You think it didn't? I thought it skimmed it. That's why he threw it out. Going into the BP bucket. Swing and a miss. 95 on the high heat. And the Marlins go down 1-2-3. That's a 10-pitch first inning for Zach Eflin. Middle of the first. Marlins nothing. And the Phillies coming on up. Phillies stepping up for the first time against Jose Urena here tonight. The Phillies lineup brought to you by Xfinity, the fastest internet provider according to speedtest.net. Well, one of the big changes for the Phillies in tonight's lineup is the fact that Roman Quinn is starting in center field and batting ninth. Santana, 82 walks, the most by a Philly since Jason Worth, who we'll see tomorrow in 2010. Now they will face Urena, who they've seen before. In fact, John, we saw him when we were in South Florida the last time. He has good stuff, but he wasn't able to linger long in that ball game. Yeah,
it's command he struggles with. I mean, got a great arm, we know that, but you know, he'll cruise through a few innings, and then all of a sudden he just loses it, and you know that's what the Phillies offense has to be aware of. You know, if he wants to lose it, let him lose it.
Cesar will lead it off. Cesar is 0 for his last 16. At a first pitch fastball, and it's 0-1.
Too many balls in the air for Cesar. Of course, Bo was on him about the blonde hair down in the dugout.
The bajo. That means Spanish. And that means down in Spanish. I gave him a few bajos in the dugout. Just needs to keep that, like you said, John, keep that ball out of the air.
How much do you think his sore foot is playing into this? I mean, does that have anything to do with it, you think? There's one down the left field line. It'll be out of play. Nice basket catch.
Yeah, I never went up to home plate conscious of my foot hurts because I hit a ball above it the day before and tried to change my swing, so I didn't do it. But he has lifted a lot more balls since then.
Pulls that one. There's a base hit. And that ends that stretch. So Cesar's aboard to start the bottom of the first inning.
Well, maybe that'll get him going again. He can rattle off some hits when he gets hot.
Speaking of about the guys who have been putting the ball in play, time for our Nissan upgrade to the technology of tomorrow today. And Rhys Hoskins, the highest OPS through the first 50 games of his career since 2000. And Albert Pujols is atop that list, but Rhys has made his way on that list.
Rhys hangs around with some great company, doesn't he?
He's starting to. He sure does. Hoskins 0 for 7 against Urena. 22 home runs, 72 runs batted in. He is 5th in the National League in RBIs with those 72.
Now when we were in Miami earlier in the season, Urena drilled Dubee, and Rhys had some words for him from the dugout, and then we got back and that was outside, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But then we went back down there. Didn't he throw one into Rhys, up and into Rhys's first at bat?
Yep.
So this could be. See how this thing plays out. I think Cesar on first base changes Urena's opinion on things.
Outside, 2-1. Dusty Wathan laying down the signs. Usually Cesar's on his own, and they don't just tell him to go. Three and 1.
You know me on that. I don't like running with Rhys hitting. I like to just sit over there nice and quiet and don't draw a lot of attention. I've said many times he's like a home run waiting to happen. He's basically in scoring position now.
And ball 4. Now that one looked better. That one looked better than the strike 1.
They'll make up for what they think might be a missed call.
First walk issued by Urena. The Phillies have 2 on. It's Sean Barber behind home plate. Don Mattingly in the first base dugout.
I don't think Donnie agreed with it.
Here's Nick Williams getting a chance to hit third as his numbers have improved. So Hoskins at first. He's reached base safely now in 21 games. 21 straight games. Hernandez at second base. Got a foul tip, and it's 0-1. Real good numbers the last dozen games, or a little less than a dozen games. 356 with 3 home runs for Nick Williams. It's side 1-1.
I mean, this is, you beat them the first 2 games of the series. You know, you jump on them early here, let them know that, you know, that this game's not going to be yours either. And then you got Nola tomorrow.
In the air to left center field. Galloway going back toward the wall. Gone! First inning 3-run home run for Nick Williams. That's his 15th of the year. And the Phillies jump out to the early lead.
You mean like that, John?
That's a pretty good jump.
The ball on the meat of the bat, and it'll go here. Flags are dead. Not a breath of air here tonight. What a great night to hit.
What a beautiful swing.
3-0 and no outs.
15 home runs now, 43 runs batted in. And here's Santana, who lines one to left field. So the train keeps on rolling.
Carlos Santana throws a little comeback line drive to left field. Boys are putting on a hitting clinic.
There they are.
3 of the first 4 guys knocks.
And now is Dubee. Cabrera is 2 for 16 against Urania.
Tell you, I haven't been here, and I thought finding those as Rubel. I have that right? As Dubee was a heck of a find. Pretty much gives the Phillies, or gives Gabe about everything he needs now in that infield.
Well, just picking him up, whether it's Kingery going to sit more and Cabrera playing more shortstop, but it makes the bench better. The bench was tough. You know, especially with, you know, Aaron Altair struggling to the point where they had to send him down to try to get him right. You know, not a lot of thump off the bench, and now, you know, Kingery starts, you got this guy on the bench. If he starts, you got you know, whatever outfielder's not starting on the bench now. Like tonight, he has Dubee. It makes your bench better.
Popped him up. Real Muto doesn't see it, so Urania is going to try to find it.
One of the bad things about the shift, guys.
Yeah, there's no third baseman to help out. He's over on the right side of the diamond.
At what point in life are we going to allow the pitcher to start catching some of those?
Amen to that.
No. He's not allowed to catch it.
I mean, look at him. He got to the ball first.
And he saw it.
Yeah.
Well, who made that up?
I don't know. It has to be like Connie Mack or something like that.
Abner Doubleday maybe, but I'm sure or Larry Anderson. I'm sure he's apt to catch a pop-up. I'm assuming he's done it before.
I would think so. And if not, then he better learn how to do it.
That'll be next in spring training next year. You see all pitchers working on catching foul pop-ups with the shifts.
My thought is let them catch it, particularly if there's nobody else around. 2-2 to Cabrera.
Well, you know, Real Muto lost it early. He wasn't sure where it was. A little communication out there wouldn't hurt.
Into the Phillies dugout. Over the shoulder of Gabe Kapler and of Andrew Knapp.
Now, what is Cabrera's best position?
I would say third base or second base. Wouldn't you, John?
I would say second would be at this point. I mean, he used to be one of the best shortstops in the American League when he was with the Indians.
Swing and a miss. Cabrera strikes out. For the first strikeout for Urania, first out. Let's check in with Greg Murphy as Maikel Franco comes up.
All right, thank you very much, Tom. Well, we all know how hot Maikel Franco has been over the last couple of weeks. Of course, in this series alone, he has the walk-off home run. And I saw an amazing stat yesterday. This was a stat that Corey Seidman had on the Phillies pregame show from NBC Sports Philadelphia. And you look at his numbers, Maikel Franco's numbers, in a hitter's count last year when he was ahead in the count. He batted 200 with an OPS of 728. This year, how about 330 with an OPS well over 900, 993 as a matter of fact. In hitters counts this year, he has been able to, really obviously do some serious damage, which he wasn't able to do a year ago. And, John and Mike, you guys watched Maikel all of last year. What's different about him this year when he is ahead in the count, when he's in a hitter's count?
All right, I'll give that a shot. You remember back about a month ago when you guys might know the team and when it was. Maybe Carl can look it up. He had a 4-hit game. And I believe at least three and maybe 4 of those balls were ground balls. Remember, he grounded a couple balls up
the right
middle,
side, yeah.
And he grounded the ball through the right side. I think ever since that game, he has been more willing to drive down on the ball. In other words, more willing to try and keep the ball out of the air. I think here's the pop up to the catcher. You never want to miss 2 in a row of those. And I think he has been down through the ball more since then. That's just my take on it, John.
Well, the other night when he hit the walk-off, the 3-run homer off of Bear Claw, he said it after the thing. He said, I saw his fastball command wasn't there, so I just set on breaking ball, and you saw where the pitch was. It was down. If you have a big uppercut swing at something like that, who knows where it will end up. But I mean, he had just had a nice, easy swing. Sometimes we have a tendency when we guess right, we know what's coming, to overswing. He just laid a really pretty swing on that ball and hit it out.
That game that Mike was talking about was the 23rd of June against Washington. It was an 11-4 victory, where he was 4 for 4 with 2 runs scored in that game.
And I think it reestablished in him. There were a lot of hits up the middle on the ground, and I'll bet you if you went back through his at-bats since that game, he made more outs on balls hit on the ground, at shortstop, at third, at second, than he has in the air.
Well, and I think that you look at his overall numbers, let's say since the 15th of June, among third basemen in the National League, and you got good ones. I mean, we're talking about Suarez from the Reds, we're talking about Arenado from the Rockies, who could be the best one, Matt Carpenter, who, even though he bounces around, is listed as a third baseman. Maikel is second in average, around 330. He's 4th in home runs. He's 4th in slugging percentage, and he's 5th in isolated power, which is your slugging percentage minus your batting average. I mean, there's some ballpark numbers in there too, but that's the main thing. I mean, he's in that category with those guys, and those guys are considered not only the best in the National League, but some people's case, the best in baseball.
I'll bet you strikeouts are down during that period too.
They have to be. Yeah,
no
they have
question.
to be. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Knapp. And a line drive, base hit up the middle.
There's another guy that's been hitting the ball well over the last month and a half. Hitting, swinging earlier in the counts. More confident up there.
Well, it ends in 0 for 11 for Knapp. He's been a good pinch hitter for the Phils.
Isn't it fun talking about positive things?
Yes, very much so.
Not been a whole lot of negatives lately.
To the left side, slowly hit. Rojas has it. And the inning comes to a close. The Phillies sent 8 men to the plate in the inning. It's a 30-pitch inning for Urania. And Nick Williams has given the Phils an early lead. A 3-run bomb the opposite way. That's home run number 15 for Nick. We'll go to the second inning. The Phillies 3 and the Marlins nothing. 2018 Phillies to the 06-08 clubs. This team has more pitching on the upswing, whereas I think the period I was here in 06 to 08, we were a more offense and defense-oriented situation. Our pitching probably wasn't as deep as potentially the group has here now. Potentially, this is a good group and is on the upswing. Now, he did trade for, and so did Ruben, trade for pitchers to make that staff even better. Just the Phillies have signed Jake Arrieta, but with Aaron Nola sort of leading the way of this young crew, they kind of are on the upswing, aren't they?
Absolutely.
Yeah, without question. Power arms.
You look around that field and look in what do you suppose the average age is?
Well, it's still 26.64. You know, it's still, last time I looked, the youngest in the league. Now, they got a little older when they acquired Asdrubal Cabrera and Wilson Ramos. Although Ramos isn't technically on the 25-man roster. It's a young team still. And we think about the outfield as a whole. Hoskins, Roman Quinn tonight, Oro Dubee, and Williams. Bohr is 1 for 7 with a 2-run home run in this series, and he takes outside 2-1.
The thing that you like where the Phillies have positioned themselves is with this young pitching is, you know, Aaron Nola, we know, work good with him. Eflin, Vince, Pivetta, they continue on the upswing. The great thing is with the Phillies' financial situation, they can afford to keep them, and that's a difficult thing for a lot of teams right now in baseball. Is once their young players become star players and they're going to earn a bunch of money, some teams can't afford them and they have to let them go.
That's a very good point.
Aaron Nola's not going to be cheap.
Fly ball to left field. That's pretty well hit. Hoskins is going back to the wall, and he has room, and he makes the catch.
He's getting so much better at that. That face plant didn't work. He puts his hand out now.
That sounded pretty good off the bat.
Did sound pretty good, and the ball is traveling here tonight.
Watch him put his hand out. Were you doing the game when he just full speed ran right into it?
I was.
Yeah, he's gotten a lot better. I tell you what, it's a great teaching tool.
You know who used to do that all the time, is like run right into the wall, was John Mayberry Jr. All of a sudden he would just bam. Here's Starlin. Castro takes strike one. One ball, one strike. Eflin has allowed 2 earned runs or fewer in 9 of his 14 starts this season. Breaking ball. Punch softly foul to Freddie Gonzalez.
Hey, wouldn't you have to think at some point that the thought with the Phillies front office is long-term for Reese, long-term for Aaron? I mean, you'd have to. I know they're under control for a few more years.
Oh, yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, they did it with Kingery.
Yeah. Well, and they did it with Odubel, too.
Check swing. Did he go? Yes, he did, says Larry Vanover. That's 2 strikeouts for Eflin. By the way, Alumni Weekend will roll on tomorrow. All the fans coming to the ballpark will receive the Bradledge Bobble figurine. Game time is 1:30. It's Toyota Phillies Alumni Day. We'll celebrate the 10th anniversary of the 08 World Series Championship. We saw Chooch is here, Jay Roll's here, Ryan Howard, Pat Burrell, Carlos Ruiz, and Brad Lidge. Some of the folks getting a picture of Pat and Roy Halladay's plaque out on the Wall of Fame. Phillies started doing the Wall of Fame in 1978, and they did it with a Philly going in every year and a Philadelphia A player or front office member going in every year. And I think it's been, I think every team should do it. And I know a lot of them do, but I think every team should do it. It's so neat for the fans to come out and get a chance to see the plaques and read some of the information. It's kind of a reflection on Phillies history.
And not a lot of teams do
display
anything
it like that
every year.
Yeah.
I think I don't know of any other team that, like the Yankees have Old Timers Day every year, which I assume would be something sort of what we do here. But you know, to induct someone into the Phillies Wall of Fame every year, I don't know of any other team that does that.
3 balls and 1 strike. We were talking about this, Mike, last night about how great it is that all of you guys come back every year. I mean, I know you're here every weekend, but we see Larry Bow all the time and Bull's out at his barbecue pit.
Well, let's give obviously the Phillies administrative people. And, oh, look at this.
Diving stop. Franco pops to his feet, fires a strike to first. That is a beautiful play.
You know, sometimes hitting well makes you a better defensive player.
Yeah. That was a remarkable play by Maikel Franco. We'll talk more about the alums in just a little bit and what it means to come back. We'll talk about what it means to play this kind of defense as well. A good first step, good concentration, and the arm, well, the arm kind of speaks for itself. Play of the game.
Yeah, that ball had topspin and it shot as soon as it hit the ground. And look at that. That's full extension, and that's a hard one to catch. You know, short hops are easy, and then bouncing up, doing a little 180, throwing that rocket to first base. And that was your Hyundai defensive play of the game, brought to you by your local Hyundai dealers.
Well, Roman Quinn leads things off as we go to the bottom of the second.
So let's obviously credit Dave Buck for the first-class way that they handle the Phillies alumni in the history of the Phillies. But there's a young lady named Debbie Nasita.
Mm-hmm.
She works so hard to make it first class. She deserves a ton of credit, as does her young staff. You know, the young staff that are involved driving people around and putting the golf tournament together. Sully does the golf tournament. You know how much fun that is.
Oh, yeah.
And I think it goes back even, you know, to the 70s when you guys were playing, Michael. You know, with Larry Shank and Bill Giles and starting the Wall of Fame and then sort of incorporating it, you know, each and every year and building on it each and every year. Cesar takes inside, 1 ball, no strikes.
I don't know anybody that has played for the Phillies in, what do you say, what we call it in history in the last 50 years, let's say, that hadn't. Ground ball second. Cesar hit the ball hard, but you know, that hasn't always had a love for the Phillies. Always come back when asked to come back. Always treated well by the Phillies, everybody.
Bull's not out there yet, just so you know. He's probably up with his teammates.
Yeah, he should be. He should get one day off. Do you ever see his office back there?
Mm-hmm.
Where Bull's barbecue is?
Did you know he had an office, Mike? He has an office back.
No, Bull.
No, Bull.
I wasn't sure. I couldn't tell who you were talking about. Sorry, I was looking at the monitor going, who are they talking about?
Well, it was Bull's barbecue. That was his barbecue place.
See, I missed it. I'm sorry. I missed what you were talking about.
Right behind where he sits.
Right.
It's got TV. It's got a refrigerator. It's got a little bar in there, a couch.
See, I didn't know that.
Air conditioned to the hilt. I went back there when we were sitting down there. Sat down there for a half inning. I didn't tell anyone. Yeah, here we
go.
Well, he deserves it. Is this what the little thing you were talking about?
Yeah.
You know, I guess you're kind of like waiting for a little something to get near a hitter. It was pretty far in there, wasn't it?
Real far in.
Reese said that's twice now. That's twice, at least with him. And then Dubee. 3 balls and no strikes. And ball 4. And Reese looking again as he tosses the bat aside. 2-out walk. And it brings Nick Williams up. Second time that Reese has walked tonight.
Now's when you hope Nick takes him deep again and you can just stare at him all the way around the bases.
This young man is building into a solid season.
Yeah, and I mean, he, first month of the season, he didn't know, he was getting sporadic playing time because Aaron Altera was getting all the time, and he got frustrated, and rightly so. I mean, if you didn't get frustrated, if you accept it, what's that say about you? And he admits he said something he probably shouldn't have said. But man, he's gotten his chance, and we talked a little bit, and I said, the only thing you can do is when you get your chance, don't give them a reason to take you out of the lineup, and that's what he's done.
His career totals right now are 601 at bats, which is probably a little bit more than the season, but 27 home runs and 98 runs batted in.
There you go. That's whoa.
And that ball hits the mound, and that's the only reason it's slowed up for the shortstop to make the play.
And that's a great way to measure a player. I can't imagine any better way to measure a player.
No runs, no hits, 1 man left. Pat Gillick's going to join us when we come back with the Phillies up 3-0. Holiday, and of course Pat Gillick, the former general manager and president of the Philadelphia Phillies. David Montgomery pulled the drape off the plaque, which now sits in the Phillies Wall of Fame out in left field.
Good evening.
Pat is now a Hall of Famer in Cooperstown and a Wall of Famer here in Philadelphia as we begin the top half of the third inning. And Pat joins us up here in the booth. Pat, I was telling John and Mike that I've seen a lot of the Wall of Fame inductions. That was one of the more emotional ones that we have watched. I mean, it was unbelievable tonight.
Yeah, it's very difficult, I think, in the situation with happening so sudden in the way that it occurred. You know, it's got to be a shock, and so it's tough to. It takes a long time to recover.
Well, beautifully done on your part. Obviously, Brandy, her speech was unbelievable too. And I couldn't help but look at all the 2008 guys that were sitting down in front of the dugout. That must have give you a great feeling to look and see your family, but also see the family of Phillies that were there too.
I mean, I think certainly Brandy and her two sons, they really appreciated, and they knew how well Roy was respected. And I think that was the word that's really big, I think, with all of us in baseball is respect for other people, and he certainly has the respect.
You've been awful busy lately. We've seen a lot of each other lately, right?
Yeah, we were just together last weekend up in Cooperstown, and actually I thought the induction went pretty well, and I thought the speeches overall were pretty good, and did a guy's job. And Jim Thome was
fantastic.
He was great.
Yeah, he was fantastic.
Thome took that speech very seriously. I was told that he went down 2 weeks before he did it and saw where it was going to be and practiced his speech. Pretty impressive.
How about that for preparation, Johnny?
It's a scouting report.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know when he was on with us, he said that he's really fretting over, you only have one chance when you're on that podium, right? To thank everyone that helped you get to where you are.
Pretty much.
And what happens is usually when you try to thank everyone, you forget someone, along the line, and you feel bad about it later,
So I have a question. You've always been like in baseball. I heard how many years it's been. Now, how did you become the most famous general manager of all time?
I don't think I'm the most famous general manager. I told somebody today, Smitty, it's better to be lucky than good. And,
I hear you.
And it's good to be lucky and good, So, you know what? I didn't have a chance to say it tonight, but a guy that really helped me was the Pope.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, the Pope really helped me, and it goes back to 1959. He was managing Bakersfield in the California League, and I was playing in the league, and Pat Corrales was on the club, John Boozer and those guys, and so I got to know Paul, and he was scouting out on the West Coast, and then he came back here and was farm director and all that. So when I got a fortune to be a GM up at Toronto, and we're training in Clearwater, Dunedin, you're in Clearwater.
Dunedin, that's right.
Yeah, so consequently, we talked a lot. He helped me a lot. And the first trade I ever made wasn't a trade. We purchased Tommy Hutton from the Phillies. That was the first deal we ever made.
We'll keep you another half inning, and we'll talk a little bit more as we go to break here after the Marlins go down 1-2-3 with the Phils on top 3-0. ShopChooseNissan.com. Hello with Mike Schmidt, John Kruk, Greg Murphy. I'm Tom McCarthy. We're joined up here in the booth by Pat Gillick, Baseball Hall of Famer Pat Gillick, former Phillies GM and president, and now Phillies Wall of Famer. Pat, you mentioned during your speech about how much more difficult or how different it is to be a GM in the American League compared to the National League. What is the biggest difference, do you think?
Well, I enjoy the National League a lot more than the American League, even though most of my career is in the American League. But you know, you never have to pinch hit in the American League. I mean, if it's 1-0 in the 7th inning and you got the bases loaded and there's no pitcher to come up, so consequently, you know, the extra men and the guys you carry in the roster and the way you construct the roster is so much different in the National League than the American League because it's such an offensive oriented league, the American League.
Well, you seem to handle it pretty good in '92 and '93 when you had to play the National League teams in the World Series. We appreciate that, Pat.
Well, I tell you what, the pivotal game was at, what was it, 15-14 or something? That was a crazy one.
I don't remember. But you know, you had to take out the batting title, the American League batting leader,
right,
John Olerud, just so Paul Molitor could play first.
Right.
That's got to be tough.
It sure as heck was.
How did Cito handle that one? Like, did you guys talk about that?
Yeah, we did, and Cito wanted to go ahead with it. So I mean, he was running the team on the field. I'm just the guy who supplies the players who tries to supply them.
Yeah, well, Molitor only hit .795 in that World Series.
But I'll tell you something funny. How old I am? I scouted Smitty when he was at Ohio U, and he was playing.
Really?
You were playing shortstop.
Yeah.
And I scouted him.
You don't forget a name or a face, Pat Gillick.
You remember Tony Lucadello?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yep. He was playing shortstop at Ohio U, and I scouted him, and I said, he's got power. He's a swing and miss guy, but he's a guy I would
a swing and miss guy. I'd fit right in today. Right?
It's a home run or nothing, right?
There's a base hit for Santana, so he's 2 for 2.
Yeah, it's a little different game than it was before, you know.
I'm trying to get used to it, Pat. I mean, although I'm in the top 20 all-time in strikeouts, somewhere maybe 15th all-time in strikeouts, but
you're going to get a lot of guys passing you up.
That is true. Eventually they will. You're right.
I'm still trying to understand how the strikeout is not important anymore, or how it's no big deal, and how, I don't know, you probably trying to understand it as well.
We're in the same boat, Mike.
Yeah.
We're in the same boat. The only time a strikeout might be important if you got a pitcher hitting and the bases loaded or a double play situation.
Yeah.
That's when a strikeout might be important. But I cannot see any value in a strikeout other than the fact you might have to stay out of a double play.
Good point. Good point.
Pat, when you were constructing the Phillies that eventually won the World Championship, was there a deal that you think back now and say, you know what, that's one that kind of put us over the top, or was it a collective effort, you think?
Well, you know what, I was sort of a small piece guy. I made one really big deal was when I was over at Toronto was when we traded McGriff and Fernandez for Alomar and Carter. But most of the situations, I said here the other day, I mean, I came in a situation when you got Howard and Tomey on first, you got Utley on second, Rollins is playing short. David Bell was playing third at that time. We got Burrell, Victorino, and we later on picked up Worth. So I mean, it's a pretty good group. And basically, it's sort of, I said, just don't screw it up. So I didn't want to touch it, and I just wanted to add to it. So you know, we picked up Worth, we picked up Durbin, picked up Ledge, picked up Air, picked up Moyer.
Yep.
Just different little guys who kind of fit. And
there you go.
Speaking about guys that have been picked up, and Asdrubal Cabrera, a 2-run home run, is first with the Phils, and he's helped the Phils now to a 5-0 lead. Well, there you go, Pat. That's the kind of guy you pick up.
Well, you know what, and Mike, when we pick somebody up at the deadline, I always ask the older guys on the club if this guy fit with us.
Yeah.
If we're in contention on the 31st of July and we're going for it, and we got 2 months to play, does this guy fit in with our club? Is he a good teammate? Is he a good guy in the clubhouse? Because we got to have something to go on for April, May, June, and July that we're in a position to compete. So I used to to sound out the guys and say, hey, is this guy a fit in our clubhouse? The chemistry, I know it's an overused word, but the chemistry, I think, is so important in the clubhouse.
Yeah, that's kind of an old school way to go about it. And back in the day, you know, they'd come in, maybe the older guys in a clubhouse, myself, Maddox, Boone, Boa, you know, they'd come in and feel us out a little bit on a particular player.
Yeah. Well, I learned that from the Pope. And the Pope, you know, told me, you know, he said, you know, you've got guys who are just long-term employees, the guys that have been there for a while, guys who are comfortable in what you do, what is to be expected if you're a Philly or a Blue Jay or whatever it is. And so you don't want to bring somebody in that's going to put the thing out of killer, out of balance.
Well, I thought you did that too with Stairsy when he came in 2008, and what a boost he was off the bench. You're talking about adding a piece to the bench.
Right.
That was he was one of those guys.
So it's more little pieces, Tom, than anything else, you know. I mean, I think probably the big one was Charlie Kerfell told me, he says, I feel like there's a bounce back on Lidge. And then we went out and got Lidge because Lidge didn't have a particularly good year, you know, prior to coming over here. And Charlie told me he saw him late in the season. He says, I think the guy's going to bounce back.
Oof, what a pickup that was.
So, you know,
thank you, Charlie.
That's being lucky.
Thank you, Charlie, huh?
Right.
Andrew Knapp shoots it the other way, a base hit to left center field. So he's 2 for 2. I also thought, Pat, and you had a relationship with him, but I also thought the subtle pickup of Jason Worth turned out to be a huge, an impactful pickup for the Phillies.
It was. It was. I had him before. I was in Baltimore.
Right.
We drafted him, and I had his father, his adopted father. I had him with the Yankees, Dennis Worth, and so I knew the family and everything when we drafted him in Baltimore, and he just never really got an opportunity to play, you know, and so consequently, you know, they didn't tender him a contract, and we signed him just for a contract.
Right.
You know, and the same thing with Chad Durbin. He was not tendered, and we signed him for a contract. So you got to give the kudos to the scouting staff for recommending people, and those guys were little pieces, not major pieces that fit in and made you better.
Right. Well, you when you got Jason, he was a catcher, right?
Yeah, he was a catcher, a real good one too. And I think they should have left him behind the plate, but they didn't. And
turned out to be a pretty decent right fielder for you.
He sure did. He sure did.
Did you ever see anyone play that wall like here?
Yeah.
That cut out there, pretty special.
Yep.
Here's Roman Quinn who takes it.
So, what's a guy got to do to get a red jacket?
Oh, nice. Yeah, it was a nice jacket.
It was. I don't know. You know what? I might be able to go to work at the Capitol Grill as a host, right? Or maitre d', right?
Well, at least you now have a red jacket.
Yeah,
it's a nice one.
It was wonderful. You know,
there it is. Fits perfect.
It was. Yeah, it was so I couldn't get it on. But
well, Pat Burrell leaned over to him and he goes, how come we didn't get a red jacket?
I think everybody was up there going, what's this red jacket? Where's mine? I didn't get
got
one.
these jerseys. We have 1 million of them. Oh, that's funny.
Well, we got the word out now.
Oh, that's funny. 3 balls and no strikes to Roman.
Hey, a lot of jealousy when Charlie helped you with that red jacket on. I think it was Charlie. Was it Charlie?
It was Charlie.
Yeah.
Yeah, the haberdashery that he is.
A lot of jealousy. We got this jersey we wore our whole lives, and we don't get a red jacket.
The bouncer right side, and Roman Quinn is retired, so the inning is just barely over. Pat, congratulations, and thanks
a lot,
for everything.
Tom.
We appreciate everything
Smitty,
you done for us.
Congratulations, Pat.
Nice deal. Talking to you, John. Good to see you.
Yeah, Pat Gillick, one of the newest additions to the Phillies Wall of Fame. You get a chance to see his plaque when you come out to the ballpark. We'll be back for the top of the 4th right after this. And please submit your answer on the subject line. Guys, the question is this. Who was the only Reds player to reach base in Roy Halladay's postseason no-hitter in 2010? Yeah, he was very close to having a perfect game, let alone a no-hitter.
Oh, boy. I mean, you have to think it's the guy that leads the world in on-base percentage would be the obvious
Joey
pick.
Votto?
I'm assuming that's not right since you said his name.
No.
Do you guys, I thought these were private between John and I.
Well, you guys could talk about it. Hey, speaking of private, Mike, here's the Bulls' office.
That's Bulls' office right there.
Happens to be unlocked.
Doesn't have his name on the door or anything?
It's awfully dark. There's the fridge lighting up the room.
I'm sorry.
That's scary in there.
2 chairs, 2 nice chairs, cushion, real comfortable.
There we
go.
Paul Muller. The Paul Muller flathead. We know it's his office because it says Bulls. That's funny.
That's pretty nice.
Real nice. And it's cold in there. I mean, it is special.
No balls and 2 strikes to Sierra, who popped out his first time up.
Some eerie music.
Yeah, it wasn't very.
Bet you it smells like barbecue.
Wasn't very comforting music. Fly ball down the left field line. Reese on the run over toward the railing, and the same guy who just caught the ground ball caught the fly ball. He's a glutton.
Looked like the gentleman beside him there in the blue shirt was saying that's a 3.
Oh, really? Was Art saying that was 3? Oh, there's Chooch. Carlos Ruiz. Milt Thompson's there. The 0-2 pitch. And line right back to the mound softly. Eflin's got it, hurries the throw in time.
How'd you know that was softly?
Well,
by the way the pitcher reacted?
By the way he reacted, but I also thought I saw it knuckling back a little bit. And it sounded like he broke his bat, too.
Yeah, it looked like it would have got back there a lot quicker if he'd hit it right on the nose.
I
don't know. Ask Zach if that was hit
I was going to say,
softly.
I guess we have to ask him if it was hit softly or not.
It's funny. We were.
Excuse me. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I was talking about that yesterday with Larry Anderson about getting hit with a comebacker.
Because Pat Neshek
Jeff Jenkins. Yeah, and Larry said that he hit one. The guy hit a changeup, and he said he reached for it with his glove. He felt like 2 or 3 times before it got there, and it hit him in his arm.
Brian Anderson, the batter, he takes a fastball for strike 1.
Probably when he was facing Ty Cobb.
Back in the day.
Back in the day, when he first broke in.
Ty Cobb, that you mean?
Yeah.
On one hop out to shortstop, Cabrera. Breaking news, the most accurate weather forecast for your neighborhood and major news of the day in 2 languages. Every weeknight, count on NBC 10 News and Telemundo 62 News at 11. See what everyone's talking about tonight at 11. Two outs, and JT Realmuto, who struck out his first time up. Curveball from Eflin.
So Realmuto got through the trade deadline.
Yeah, I think they hope to sign him to a long-term deal or get a basket full of prospects back for him. Another ground ball. This one right at Cabrera. 12 up, 12 down. That's an 8-pitch inning for Zach Eflin. Nothing across for the Marlins. Bottom of the 4th is upon us. Fills up 5-0. And by WB Mason. Who bought WB Mason for fast, free delivery? Nobody does it better. Last of the fourth inning, the Phillies up 5-0. They've used the long ball tonight. 3-run home run by Nick Williams, a 2-run shot by Asdrubal Cabrera against Jose Urena. Nationals have already lost game 1 of their doubleheader against the Reds. They're winning game 2. Meanwhile, the Braves trail the Mets 1-0. That game's in the bottom of the 6th inning. Zach Wheeler's pitching for the Mets. It's almost as if he's buying into everything that's been said about him in recent weeks about how good he is, because he's pitched great for New York.
How about Jacob deGrom? Whew. He's got what, 5 wins? He's 5-8.
ERA is under 2.
Under 2. And he's 5-8. His last 3 starts, he's thrown 8 innings in each start.
8 strikeouts at least.
At least 8 strikeouts and not giving up more than 2 runs, and he's 0-3.
The incredible thing is yesterday he drove in the run for the Mets. The only run. See the standings. Washington is 6 back. Atlanta a half game back. Swing and a miss by Cesar. A 95-mile-an-hour fastball. Well, the Phillies will see the Mets on the next homestand. It's after the Red Sox series. Thursday, August 16th, there's a doubleheader. It begins at 4:05. It's a single admission doubleheader. Then the 17th of August, 6:05 first pitch, the Old Dominion postgame concert. Saturday the 18th at 4:05, the IBEW Local 98 Jake Arrieta nickname T-shirt. That's free for kids 14 and under. Sunday's game's up at Williamsport. That'll be nationally televised.
Doing a Friday game that weekend. Friday
you are doing it? All right. You going to stick around for the Old Dominion concert?
I like them. I like them a lot. I'm a new fan of theirs. A couple of their songs are on my iPhone right now. Will I stick around? I'll have to wait and see.
Yeah. Because you're a busy man. You got a lot going on.
I start to fall asleep around 9:30 or 10.
I hear you.
Get this man some caffeine because it's 8:45.
I think that was a little home run swing there by Reese.
Bouncing ball beyond the third base bag. Rojas. He was shaded that way. Well, Nick Williams got it all started in the first inning. He provided us with an early Toyota turning point.
Yeah, we said you got to get these guys early. You beat them the first 2. Get on them early and see what happens. And Nick got us off to a great start after a base hit by Cesar and a Reese Hoskins walk and a big 3-run homer to get the Phillies on the board early. And Eflin's making it hold, and that's our Toyota turning point of the game.
Nick dribbles one in front of the plate. Urena throws him out. And that's the easiest inning he's had on the night. Well, Alumni Weekend rolls on.
He's not an alumni.
Oh, he's not? Are you sure?
Sure
We'll be back
he is.
right after this. Head to WBMason.com, and in just one click, WB Mason will deliver and install your new workstation for free. Nobody does it better than who? But WB Mason. Justin Boers sends one to the air to center field. Quinn going back toward the wall, and it is gone deep into the bushes. That is the first hit of the night for the Miami Marlins, and it's now a 5-1 ball game.
Obviously a well hit ball. 420, 415 straight away. That's the old ambush, the first pitch fastball. He got 5-0 lead. There's no way he throws anything but the first pitch fastball here. But you still got to hit it. It's a good swing, Johnny.
Yeah, it's a couple home runs in this series. That one, Dubee robbed one in the bushes, but that was Roman Quinn would have needed some clipping shears to get to that one. Pruning shears. If anyone's ever pruned a bush,
it's not an easy job to keep it straight, John.
It's
413 feet. He has 2 hits in this series, and both are home runs.
4 runs, not much in this ballpark.
Well, it's funny you bring that up.
Yep.
Last night, Sir Anthony Dominguez was out on the mound with a 1-run lead. Castro lines a base hit to right field. And then the Phillies added some insurance, and Adam Morgan was warming up. And I asked Gabe today, I said, was there any thought to take Sir Anthony out of that game with a 4-run lead? He said, the only way we'd have taken him out of the game is if it was a 6-run lead. He said, because I think in this ballpark and in this day and age in baseball, a 4-run lead, you still would like your closer in there most of the time, particularly when he's been in already. He said, so if we had gotten 2 more runs, then Adam Morgan would have come in. He said, but I felt like 4 runs or even 5. I wanted that game last night. Rojas grounded out his first time up. Got a fastball, 0-1.
We think about a 4-run lead. You know, you're talking about a base hit, a walk, an error, and all of a sudden the tying runs at home plate.
Plus, we already knew that the Braves had won, so you wanted to make sure you kept that half-game lead. No balls and 1 strike to Rojas. And a bouncer out to shortstop.
Sure one.
It's a double play. It's a 6-4-3 double play.
Yeah, you got to know your runners. Rojas not real fast a foot, and the turn at second base was plenty of time.
I think that's big too for Eflin. After you give up the home run, you kind of give up the single, and then you're able to roll the double play ball. Arlene Garcia warming up in the bullpen, the lefty.
I wonder why Dietrich's not in the lineup.
That's a good question.
He hits is pretty good.
Low. There's Derek Dietrich, who is part of the bench today for the Miami Marlins.
He doesn't look too happy.
Yeah, there's something with, he had a little collision last night with Rojas on a pop-up, and looked like they had some words in the dugout. I don't know if that's why he's not in there tonight. I thought they handled it well.
Yeah. And a fastball he blew right on by him. That is the 4th strikeout for Zach Eflin. Middle of the 5th. It's the Phillies 5, the Marlins 1. The Reading Titans lost to Dubee 6-1. Adam Hazley continued his red-hot hitting. He's up to 347 with the Reading Titans. Clearwater defeated Bradenton. Mickey Moniak is hitting over 360 in his last 8 games. Lehigh Valley, Williamsport, and Lakewood all rained out. As we go to the bottom of the 5th inning, Carlos Santana will lead it off. He is 2 for 2. By the way, an update with Lehigh Valley. Dean Anna has increased his hitting streak to 22 consecutive games, so he's zeroing in on Scott Kingry's record. As that pitch is inside 2-0. Let's check in with Greg Murphy. Murph.
All right, thank you very much, Tom. Well, I'm here with Rich Dubee, who was part of the ceremony today to honor both Pat Gillick and Roy Halladay. And he did such a terrific job as that one leaves the ballpark. Hey, you're good luck, too.
I don't know about that, but it was a great ceremony.
It was a great ceremony. We watched Carlos Santana, Carlos round the bases. But let's talk a little bit about Roy Halladay and what he meant to you. You were able to really put it into words today, I thought, as you talked about him and talked about not only what he meant to this organization, but what he meant to you guys personally.
Oh, absolutely. First of all, he's a great friend. I mean, he was a consummate professional. I mean, a great teammate, did everything for anybody that needed it. You know, you talk about his foundation, the dog recovery. I mean, he was great with fans. He would sign autographs. He was poet for pitchers. You know, and preparation, dedication, they were all off the charts. They were just you don't come upon people like that very often, and he was so special.
You know, we hear so much about how he got ready for a game as a pitcher, but you told a great story today. So for folks that weren't in the ballpark, can you tell it again about, you know, he came over from the American League, didn't get many at-bats in the American League. Tell that story that you told the folks here today.
Well, yeah, he came over in against live pitching and against machines and stuff, and he got 2 sacrifice down the whole season. Now Doc got a lot of at bats because he started a game and generally he tried to so he was getting a lot of at bats, but wasn't very good at it. It was difficult for him to stand in there against a live arm, not having seen it for so many years. Well, during the winter he worked at it, in spring training he worked at it, and he ended up with I think 16 sacrifice bunts in 2011. He was among the league leaders. And it was just through sheer determination and hard work and grit, and that's the way he was. There's so many stories. I mean, you could go on and on about how he pitched injured and how he did things and how he helped players. And again, there just was nobody any better.
And what he meant to this clubhouse. You know, you're talking to some of the guys, especially some of the guys that are back here today. You know, you guys won in 08, obviously, and then in 9 and 10, you know, you guys are battling again. And for so many of those guys, it was about, hey, let's get Doc one, right?
Oh, absolutely. It was 10 his first year here when we clinched. He was on the mound for the clincher. And of course, we're going to go in and have champagne we're going to have champagne and party and celebrate again. And the team as a whole would not allow anybody to pop a cork until Doc was the first one. And that's the type of respect that he got from his teammates. You know, it wasn't he told you what you had to do. He suggested what you do. If he had to kick in the butt, he could kick in the butt. But he was really good at patting guys on the back and keep them headed in the right direction.
Before I let you go, I got to ask you about getting back together with that 08 team. So many of the guys are here. I know tomorrow will be the big day here at the ballpark for all of you guys. But just to be back and see some of the faces I bet you haven't seen in quite some time. And others you have, I'm sure. But to get the whole group back together, or most of the group back together, pretty special.
Oh, it's always special, you know, to see these guys. One of the first guys I saw was Clay Condry. And, you know, Clay was pretty much our MVP in the pitching staff in 08. We had optioned him down 5 times. Because we needed a fresh arm or for whatever reason. And each time we kept on telling Clay, don't, you know, go to AAA, you'll be back here in 10 days. So when he got on the bus the other day, I told him Charlie and I had to meet with him because we were going to option him down again. So we have a lot of good fun with these guys. They're all great people and just a treat to be around.
Always busting stones, Rich Dubee, always.
Well, yeah, I have to because people accuse me of certain things.
Rich, it's great to see you. Thanks for spending a couple minutes with us. We appreciate it. Terrific job down on the field today.
Thanks, Murph. Appreciate it.
Guys, Back to you.
All right, Murph, thank you. That is one of the more unheralded people of that 2008 World Championship and even beyond. Those years when the Phillies were so good. That guy, he could do a whole lot. Not only with a pitching staff, but just with things in general. 1 ball and 1 strike to Andrew Knapp. On the A base, the pitching coach of the Marlins. Ball is pulled foul.
Oh, we got that run back quick, huh?
Sure did.
What was that one measured at? Did we ever get the distance?
423.
That was up there. 4 or 5 rows upper deck.
Yeah, that was a shot. Swing and a miss. Yeah, that's the last out of the inning. 3 strikeouts for Orania. And this is the home run we're talking about from Carlos Santana. One of the longer ones we'll see him hit this year. I mean, it was a low pitch, and that is a sweet spot for a left-hander into the second deck. Phillies on top 6-1. Swing it with consistency into the All-Star break. Michael is connected for power and production to start the second half and has delivered an average in the mid-300s for the month of July. Franco's launch angle has been optimal, and his blasts continue to aid the Phils offense as they battle for first place in the East. And it's brought to you by Independence Blue Cross. Live fearless. Well, some of the Phillies fans getting a chance to enjoy an offensive explosion. What is it doing? Oh, it's causing them to do a little dance and soak it all in.
Oh, I'm taking a little video behind him there.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
We start the top of the 6th inning, and Galloway will lead it off. Shows bunts to the left of the mound. Eflin fields it well, throws him out. It's an excellent play. It really is an excellent play.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. Understood the time he had for the play. Not as quite as good as Mr. Velasquez throwing it over left-handed. Ooh, a little down under too. Slick little catch by Carlos over there.
That's what you love about having some athletic pitchers. A lot of pitchers would have to catch that, gather, get their perfect arm slot, and then by that time Galloway's safe.
Crow hop.
Yeah. I mean, he just caught it from down under and let it fly.
52 pitches for Eflin with 1 out here in the 6th.
It's pretty economical, isn't it?
Yeah. This is as fluid as he has been. Fly ball center field by Rivero. And Roman Quinn Puts it away for the second out. I think if you're Rick Kranitz and you're looking at the chart right now, you're loving the fact that he's getting a lot of outs very early in counts. He has only one 3-ball count tonight.
Well, he's pounding the strike zone, and yeah, you got some young aggressive hitters on this Marlins team.
Let me throw a little something at you here, see if you guys agree. I saw this happen to the Phillies a lot last year when they got down 4 or 5 runs. The last couple of years when they got down 4 or 5 runs in a game. Their sense of coming back in a game and winning it, and the need to win the game, do whatever you can do, kind of starts to leave you when you get like 15, 20 games out of first place, right? And you don't manage the game, and the hitters just kind of go up there, and you know what I mean? They just kind of go up there and let it fly early in the count. Just let it fly, and the game starts to move past it, starts to move fast.
And for some of them, they were so young that it was moving faster than others. And for the Marlins, they do have a young team. One and two to Sierra, who's 0 for 2. Got him. Threw a breaking ball, a curve ball, and that's his 5th strikeout of the evening. And another 1-2-3 inning. Well, for Zach Eflin, this has been one of the more dominant performances for the big right-hander. Middle of the 6th, it's the Phillies 6 and the Marlins 1. Car, truck, and SUV crossover at buyfordnow.com today. And by Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Bottom of the 6th inning, the Phillies 6 and the Marlins 1. Time now for our Coors Light refreshing finish, and Zach Eflin's through 6. He's allowed 1 run, guys, and he's only had 1 3-ball count.
Yeah, pitch count is very manageable throughout hopefully the rest of this game, but he fielded his position well. He's throwing strikes. He's getting a lot of these young Marlins hitters swinging early in the count. That's why his pitch count is where it is, and that's why he is dominating this lineup. The only mistake to Justin Bour, who hit a missile to center field, but other than that, pretty swift and easy performance by Zach Eflin, and that's our Coors Light refreshing finish.
And the Marlins will go to the bullpen with Harleen Garcia, and his first pitch to Eflin is in there.
Might as well get a hit now. He's done everything else.
That's right. Oh, and 2. Swing and a miss. Well, maybe next time.
Just get your rest.
1 out. And Roman Quinn is coming up. Roman is 0 for 2, playing center field tonight for Odubel Herrera. And Gabe Kapler just felt like it was time to give Odubel a chance to sit and watch, just because he doesn't feel like his at-bats have been crisp. But he also knows that that can turn on a dime. But he's got the added boost of having Roman here, and he wants to get him some at-bats also.
There's something that's not mentioned a lot about outfielders, Odubel in particular, center fielder, is you know how much running they do? Running after balls, running in and out of the dugouts. It's not like walking over to first base or jogging out to the mound and walking to one of the infield positions.
That'll be a base hit for Quinn.
You guys do a lot of running over the course of the game. Yeah, that sounds like sort of a trivial excuse. It's a lot different playing the outfield than it is the infield.
Well, he does play every day and every inning of every game. So I mean, he has sat a few times, but for the most part, you know, Gabe always says the same types of things, and talked today about how important it is going to be for Odubel in the next month and a half before the end of the year to be fresh.
Not to mention, if you're not getting any balls hit to you, it can get really boring standing out there.
Was the outfield boring, John?
I stood out there at one game and didn't get a ball hit to me. Well, I wasn't upset, but I did get bored.
Was there a point in the game where you sat there and said, I haven't gotten anything yet, like in the sixth inning?
I was still praying like I did every inning. Please don't hit me one. I hated the outfield. Too far away.
Nobody to talk to.
Nothing.
First basemen used to talking people, right?
Well, you know, if they didn't get anyone on base, you still had the first base coach, the umpire. Man, you're standing out in left field. It's lonely.
Who'd you warm up with between innings?
Dykstra. Didn't get much from him. As far as no, he would talk. We talked a lot about it. The pitcher.
You ever yell over there, hey, what's happening over there, Lenny?
Couldn't hear me.
There it goes. Pitches inside corner, I should say. It's 2-2. Quinn has his first stolen base of the year. Sean Barber is being asked by Don Mattingly if there was interference by Cesar.
I think the pitch took Real Muto into Cesar. Cesar didn't leave his foothold.
Have they lost? Yeah, they're down to 4 visits.
I still haven't seen that come to play yet.
I think it's only twice it's happened. Angels and Royals are the two.
I could see that. Salvador Perez catching.
Is he a chatty patty?
He likes to visit.
He likes to visit. 2-2 to Cesar, who is 1 for 3 this evening. A bouncer foul. Oh, he didn't get that one. Art got it. Art's been a long-time season ticket holder down there beyond the tarp.
Just making friends.
In the air to left field. He turned on it, and it is gone. Cesar with his 9th home run of the year. It's the 4th home run of the night for the Phils. They lead it 8-1.
Get hot, Cesar. Here it is. Fastball a little up. A bajo. A little bit of a, I'm going to say he got those hands up a little bit and tried to get on top of it.
That's his first home run of the year, right-handed.
Kind of hitting on all cylinders right now, John.
They sure are.
I think there's a lot of guys that apparently want to get on the Wall of Fame, Michael.
Ball's popped up way up there. Real Muto.
They got it.
2 outs. Enhance your next game day experience with the MLB Ballpark app. Access and manage your tickets. Enjoy check-in offers, exclusive content, and much more. Download the MLB Ballpark app today. And that Ballpark app will come in handy tomorrow, won't it, Murph?
Yeah, it really will, Tom. A very cool feature that's going to happen tomorrow in conjunction with the app. It's called the augmented reality portion of the app on your phone. And tomorrow, as we know, everyone's going to get the bobble figurine of Brad Lidge down on his knees tomorrow. On the side of the box is a picture of Brad Lidge. If you use the app to scan that picture on your phone, a video will play of the highlights of his perfect season out of the bullpen. So kind of everything coming together and using technology and the giveaway tomorrow to really kind of showcase what that app can do. It's a cool feature. It can do so much inside the ballpark. So if you come down to the ballpark often, you're going to want to put that on your phone and take advantage of it. But tomorrow, make sure you scan the box. You can see relive the highlights from Brad Lidge's perfect season, guys.
Yeah, the Ballpark app has been very handy for a lot of fans. It'll tell you, where you can go get your favorite beer, or where you can go get your favorite hoagie.
The refrigerator.
The refrigerator is a good choice in our office, but it's evolving more and more as the year goes on too.
That sounds pretty cool.
Tells you where Bull is. If, Bull is relocated from right field.
Did they put a
to left
tracking
field.
chip in Bull? Is that how you can find him?
That would just be in your app. A strike 3 called as Nick Williams is down looking. Garcia may have missed his spot on that one, but it's still called a strike 3. 2-run home run by Cesar gives the Phils an 8-1 lead. Time now for your Delaware Valley Honda dealers game summary. As we have played 6, the Phillies lead it 8-1. Zach Eflin has 5 1-2-3 innings. The only one that's not a 1-2-3 inning was the 5th, when he allowed a leadoff home run to Justin Bohr. But the Phillies have got a boatload of home runs tonight. Brian Anderson takes inside on the first pitch, and it's 1-0. What a night. Phillies Wall of Fame ceremonies before the ball game. All the alums that are here. Out in Canton, Brian Dawkins being inducted into the Football Hall of Fame. He just concluded his speech.
And former Eagle T.O., but he's not there.
His speech was earlier today
He's
at
not
his alma
there,
mater.
though, right?
No, he did it at his alma mater. 2 balls and no strikes to Anderson. Anderson is 0 for 2. And it's 2-1. How about this sums up the Philly fans, and this is Dawkins' last part of his speech today. He said, "I have a good understanding that you don't have money just to waste, so that means you spent your hard-earned money to come out here and celebrate with your boy. So thank you for loving me the way I love you." I mean, I think that's
nice, very nice. Well
in a lot of ways, that's how the Philadelphia athlete feels about the Philadelphia fan.
Well, it's a nice way to put it into words.
Yes. Down the right field line, Williams, and out of play. Only the second 3-ball count for Zach Eflin. Out to shortstop. Cabrera spins behind the bag. 1 out. I guess he can get to more than just the baseballs hit right at him.
They're all feeling good right now. They're all feeling good. Confident. When you hit, I'll say it, I said it before, when the team's getting hits and you're feeling good about yourself, all these little plays become a lot of fun, John. Plays like that become a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's, you know, when you're struggling offensively, the last thing you want is a ball hit to you. But man, when you're going good, you want everything.
Outside, 1-0. 10 ground ball outs tonight for Eflin.
Eflin put that 3-2 fastball right on the outside black too to get that ground ball to short.
A liner to right field. Williams is there. Time now for the Ram Truck Stump the Fans Trivia Quiz answer. All right, guys, here we go. Who was the only Reds player to reach base in Roy Halladay's postseason no-hitter in 2010?
It's not Votto.
It's not Votto.
And we might have thought it would have been Brandon Phillips, but since he made the last out, we're thinking it can't be him.
It can't be him. Nope, it's not him.
The only other guy I can think of that's was there for a long time is Jay Bruce.
Jay Bruce is correct, John. Fifth
Good
inning
job.
walk.
Nice job, John.
Log back on to Phillies.com to find out if you're the
Trust
winner
me,
of a Phillies
those are the
prize
only
pack.
3 I can name on that team. 2010.
That's a solo job by John there. Mark that down.
Well, you were in the house for that game, weren't you, John? Weren't you guys?
No.
Were you doing the American League or some other series?
I have no idea. 2010 T-Mac.
Santana spins and tosses. My bad. That's a 10-pitch inning. It's time to stretch here in Philadelphia. Phillies are on top 8-1 over the Marlins. Sweet swing from Carlos Santana.
Yeah, it sure was. And not a big overswing, just nice, short, compact, get to the ball quick, hit it on the barrel, down and into a lefty. Like you said when it happened, T-Mac, is the nitro zone for left-handed hitters. Maybe got up there in the second deck in a hurry.
Let's help the Phils to an 8-1 lead, and now Carlos will lead off against Garcia.
How do you think the Marlins are sitting there in their dugout now? Okay, it's 8-1. We lost the first game on a walk-off. Second game, they scored late to kind of blow it open. Now we're getting pretty much handed to us, 8-1, and we get Aaronola tomorrow. Good luck with this one.
Well, they take Real Muto out of the ball game. Brian Holiday is catching now, as Santana fouls the first one toward the Hall of Fame club on the first base side. Brian was with the Phillies at one time in spring training. Outside, 1 ball, 1 strike to Santana.
What a bad day, huh?
Well, it's a good day for him, boy. Anybody.
He's a different kind of hitter, isn't he, Santana? A guy with that big a swing, that hard of a swing, to be able to have the eye that he has at the same time. You take that slow start away from him, and you got a 270 hitter.
Yeah, his numbers. You're right. His numbers since the 1st of May are more Carlos Santana numbers. He just had such a horrific April. Three-two pitch. Over to shortstop. Big hop for Riddle. As Drupal Cabrera provided us with another home run replay, our giant home run replay.
Watch how he goes down on that. It's kind of a backdoor knee-high slider. That's what he does. He'll take his hands and hump the ball. You know, every now and then he gets a little bit fooled like that. And he doesn't have what I call a robotic swing. He'll take his hands to the ball, and he reached out and hooked that into the right field seats, and that's your giant home run replay.
That home run was his 19th of the year. He now has 60 RBIs. First home run with the Phillies.
Hey, well, you'd be hard pressed to find an offensive lineup around baseball that had this many guys with good numbers, as good a numbers as we have at this point.
I think aside from batting averages, you know,
right.
But there's certainly, you know, they're one of, I think, 5 teams with 15 home runs, with so many players with 15 home runs or more. Swing and a miss and an off-speed pitch, 1-2.
We have 4 guys that are around 60 RBIs, right?
We have Hoskins with 70, coming in with 72. We have Santana, who has 64. As Drupal, who has 60, obviously not all with the Phillies. Franco, 56. And then don't forget about Herrera. Dubee has 58 runs batted in.
So 5.
Back toward the middle, a base hit for Cabrera.
Cesar needs one more home run. We'll have, what, 7 double-digit home run guys?
That sounds right.
I don't think, as Drubal's given the sign that whatever that sign is they do with the rubbing of the fingers together.
Yeah, like the money sign. Reese is still looking at him. All right, I give up.
That'll be a little conversation there in between innings.
Where do they get those kind of things? They think about in spring training what this year's sign's going to be?
We had asked about the one they do this year, and they said there's really nothing to it. Well, the horns that you just did, Mike, that's Odubel. That's El Torito.
Right, yeah. Baby bull.
Although, I think that Wilson Ramos does it also. Hoskins running up.
Or he's giving him a.
Got nothing. He got nothing. I think the thing that fascinates me is how these guys can remember all the different handshakes with every play.
Kidding.
I wasn't that smart.
Remember when the low five came in? The
I was
low five.
Just thinking about that. Like it used to be just a handshake after a guy hit a homer.
Congratulations.
And then the high five, you're like, all right, this is a little bit showy. Then the low five, like, oh boy, we've come too far.
And we got to bend down.
Now you got knuckles everywhere. I mean, you got people giving you knuckles when you walk into a bank now.
When you walk into a bank. Monday morning, wake up with Telemundo 62 News, the only local Spanish language morning news. Get your breaking news, weather, and traffic to get you and your family up and out the door. Weekdays at 6 a.m. I got to be aware of that when I walk into the bank next time, Michael. But you're right.
Bank manager says, hey, Mr. Schmidt, got the knuckles stuck out.
Knapp has 2 hits from the left side of the plate tonight.
It's a very, very touchy-feely generation. They just like, high-fiving, knuckling.
Doing that, whatever that is.
You know who used to do that all the time? It started, the Pete Rose. He'd come over and tell you a little joke or something, or get on you, and then and you'd have to. He'd go and have his hand out. Hey, man, nice game. Boom, boom. You got a hand slap.
One ball and 2 strikes to Knapp. Inside, 3-2. Cabrera will be off from first. That's Asdrubal Cabrera. Zach Eflin is set to bat. He's in the on-deck circle. And a foul ball. Cabrera will come back.
Now tomorrow, are we back out on the field tomorrow?
Yeah.
It's not just the 2008 guys that they're honoring. And
no, you guys will be introduced separately from the 2008 fellas. You still have your jersey, right?
I took it off. It's somewhere. Maybe I'll see if Pat will let me use his red coat.
And a strike 3 call right at the knees. So Knapp's down looking, no runs, 1 hit, and 1 man left. We've played 7 innings here at Citizens Bank Park, and the Phillies with a convincing 8-1 lead over the Marlins. DelValHondaDealers.com. And by Jefferson Health. Call 800-JEFF-NOW or visit jeffersonhealth.org. Well, you see those 4 guys right there? We're not putting together an episode of the Brady Bunch with them. Those are the 4 that have homered tonight for the Phils. Williams, Cabrera, Santana, and Hernandez in that order. And it's all part of this 8-1 lead. That and the guy on the mound. Zach Eflin is about to begin the 8th inning. Eflin will begin this inning with 69 pitches. That's it. Number 70 is a foul ball back to the screen. It's 0-1.
There's a good one to look up. 70 pitches in the 8th.
Yeah, I mean, that's what Miami's thrown, 124 through 7. Curveball lined into left field, a base hit. And Castro has his second hit of the night. I think that was the first hanger that he's thrown tonight. Every time a Phillies pitcher records a pitch of 95 miles per hour or more, Comcast will make a contribution to Phillies charities. Phillies baseball is brought to you by Xfinity, the fastest internet in Philadelphia.
Well, here's where we need that double play ball to keep that pitch count down. I'd like to see a complete game.
He's gotten one already off of the Battle Rojas. See if we can't dial up another.
Phillies do not have a complete game this year by a starter. A slider, and it's 0-1.
Is that amazing?
It is amazing.
Hey, what would Lefty have by now? 15 or 20?
Well, Robin Roberts.
Well, Corey Kluber threw a shutout today for the Indians, and I think the Indians are the team that leads in shutouts or in incomplete games. That ball is crushed by Rojas. That's going to be a 2-run home run. 8-3 Phils. Second home run allowed by Eflin.
Somebody threw that ball back and threw it darn near all the way into shortstop.
Sign him.
That was a quick 2 runs right there. That ball was smoked. Rojas just put his head down and knew it was way back.
See if he has a little 4-seam grip.
He didn't even take a stride. He just whipped it.
Yeah, had some carry too. What's that movie with Henry Rowan-Garner?
Oh yeah. Is it Rookie of the Year?
Yeah.
I can't believe you remember that name.
I can't remember my kids' names half the time. I remember Henry Rowan-Garner.
0-1 pitch to Riddle. Curve ball, and it's 1-1.
Probably should write him down, John. Get a little tattoo.
That's what I think about tattoos. I think tattoos. It's getting to that point, Michael.
Put it on the inside of your index finger or the outside of your index finger. So you can just look down.
I'm trying to figure that out now. Now you confused me.
2-1. You know what Sarge is doing now to remember his name?
Oh.
He's got the sergeant stripes on his cuffs of his shirts. Franco in foul territory. He puts it away. You know how folks sometimes put their initials on the cuffs of their shirts?
So he's Sarge. That's his nickname, right? So
he's got Sarge stripes. Not the good. Sarge. Not Gary.
No, just you know that's a sergeant.
Sarge stripes. He was very proud of them yesterday.
But does he understand, though, he has to wear a long sleeve shirt every day now? So I'm assuming he's golfing Monday.
He's got to wear a long sleeve shirt.
Got to wear a long sleeve shirt. It's supposed to be 90 degrees.
You know, there was a time where Larry Anderson wouldn't wear a short sleeve shirt for about 3 or 4 years. He would golf and he had to wear it.
Look at these arms. You'd be wearing a long sleeve shirt too. Keep that sun off of them.
Fly ball to center field. Roman Quinn. 2 outs. Boston Red Sox are coming to town when the Phillies get off this next road trip. It'll be Tuesday, August 14th at 7:05, Wednesday the 15th at 7:05. Tickets can be purchased by going to Phillies.com. Red Sox have not missed a beat. They've won the first 3 games of that series against the Yankees. They won today 4-1.
You know what? He gave up a home run and a single in this inning, and then came right back at him. Boom, 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 just pumping balls in the middle of the plate. He could get out of this inning under 85.
Dietrich takes a breaking ball.
Have you guys noticed that Zach's the first guy I ever saw do it, but a lot of pitchers now are taking that ball out of their glove as they wind up before they deliver. See that? And then patting their, you know, like it's kind of like a quarterback in football. You know how they pat the ball before they throw it? And he kind of pats the ball in his glove. A lot of pitchers are doing that now.
Yeah, I haven't noticed if anybody else does it.
Vince does it on his warm-ups, but I don't think he does it when the you know, it actually counts. Arrieta does it, right?
I was going to say, I think Arrieta does it too.
He might have been the first guy.
Did you all see? Well, you might not have saw it, Michael. Who's that small little car that's down there?
Oh, I saw it.
The 2-seater.
Park next to it. It's Vanderbilt or something. It says.
I don't know.
2-2 pitch and a breaking ball. Strike 3 calls. Eflin comes back after the 2-run home run and gets the next 3 hitters. It's the 3rd time this year a Phillies starter's gone 8 innings of the game. We'll be back with the bottom of the 8th. Relive the magical season with a month-to-month recap and an extensive postseason breakdown. To get your copy, visit the Majestic Clubhouse store at Citizens Bank Park. It's open daily, 10 a.m. until 6, or go to Phillies.com/shop.
See Jake Arrieta and Zach Eflin.
He did that
Andrew Knapp.
He did that last night. Jake did with Vince. As soon as they took him out, he went over and they talked. And I like Andrew Knapp came over and joined, not joining the conversation, but listening.
Well, his old theory is go after those hitters or pound. What was the thing he told him in spring training when he came over here? One specific point that he gave our young
strike zone?
Yeah, something like that. Just
attack.
Attack. That's the word he used. Attack those hitters.
Well, even though his pitch count is pretty light, he won't get a chance to finish it, obviously, with Cousins up. So the Phillies continue without a complete game this year. 85 pitches for Eflin. 0-2 pitch coming to Cousins. Guerra 6.75 ERA.
I like to see Cousins get on first to stand beside Bohr.
Yeah.
Two pretty big lads.
Eight innings, 4 hits, 3 runs for Eflin. No walks, 6 strikeouts. So Zach Eflin threw a gem, so to speak. And the count 1-2 to Dylan Cousins. 2-2. The 16 pitches that Eflin threw last inning were the most he's thrown in any inning this year, or this in this game. Swing and a miss. Cousins strikes out. Roman Quinn's coming up. Let's check in with Greg Murphy.
All right, thanks, Tom. Time for the Major League Notebook, brought to you by the University of Maryland, University College. The Dodgers starting pitching staff taking a hit. Alex Wood, who threw 105 pitches last night for the Dodgers, is heading to the disabled list with a little tendinitis. Now, here's the good news for the Dodgers. Ross Stripling will come off the DL to take his next start, so that is good news for them. Wood had been the only Dodgers starter this year that had not had a stint on the disabled list so far. Oh, I didn't get it.
Oh, Murph.
I know, I tried. It was coming too fast. And Mike Trout, let me tell you about him, because we told you a couple of days ago that he was injured with the bad wrist and that they thought it would only be a day or two and he'd be back in the lineup this weekend. He's still not able to swing a bat at this point, so he is obviously not playing right now for the Angels. They're still listing him as day-to-day, but it is possible now that a trip to the DL for Mike Trout is possible, since he's not able to get around on the bat right now with that sore wrist. So we'll keep you posted on that.
Hate when he's not in the lineup, just because he's fun to watch. When we go home and turn the TV back, well, you're asleep, Mike. But
yeah, I'll be asleep.
Quinn takes outside, 1-2.
We don't get to watch many West Coast games, do we?
I don't.
I don't either.
Quinn hits it sharply, but right at the second baseman Castro. And he throws him out. 2 outs.
I'd like to see that hustle down the line, though. Roman Quinn even made that close at first base.
Out of town scoreboard. The Mets have defeated the Braves 3-0. Zach Wheeler gets the win. Kevin Gossman the loss. Wheeler went 7, struck out 9. So the Phillies can gain a game on the Braves, be a game and a half up. Fly ball center field for Cesar. That'll send Sierra back to the track. And a 1-2-3 8th inning for Javi Guerra. So we go to the 9th inning. The Phils try to make it 4 in a row when we return. On NBC 10 First Alert Weather. Steve, Crystal, Glenn, Tammy, Bill, and Brittany rated most accurate for your neighborhood for the 3rd year in a row. 8-3 Phillies as we go to the 9th inning. And Adam Morgan will try to get the last 3 outs here at Citizens Bank Park. Morgan with a 4.76 earned run average. Sierra leads it off. He's 0 for 3. He's popped out. He's grounded out and he is struck out. And a breaking ball, 0-1.
I'd like to see a nice clean inning from Adam.
You know, I really think he's going away from his fastball. I think his slider is, you know, his bread and butter #1. I think his fastball has become his secondary pitch.
And he's got a good fastball.
You notice when he comes into a game, there's a lot of first pitch sliders. So there was, what, 3 in a row right there, right?
And he's going to have a couple righties. Well, Real Muto's out of the game, but Anderson, I'd like to see get back to his changeup too. His changeup was devastating last year, and I guess because he comes in and faces so many lefties now, he doesn't throw it as much.
Swing and a miss. There you go, 4 in a row.
Yep.
That's the 7th strikeout for Phillies pitching tonight. And 1 away.
Might have been getting some advice from Larry Anderson.
Did Larry throw a slider?
Whether he wanted to or not, he just kept on throwing them. Statcast AI powered by AWS gives us the Phillies defense, which shows Hernandez shaded over toward the middle just a little bit. One ball and 1 strike.
So how do you like the white shoes with the uniform? I guess they're legal now. Bit of a different look, huh?
I always liked the white shoes.
We wore white shoes in 1975.
In the All-Star
game? The only year. No.
For the year?
Yeah.
I think that'd be a good look with the powder blues, though, would it?
Well, I don't think we had them then.
We didn't have the powder blues back then?
Carl?
I don't think you had powder blue ones, but they look pretty sharp on Reese.
Well, you know, we had to have them because I think the powder blues came in with the vet, you know, when the early on, didn't they?
Well, they
the
did.
red shoes and the powder blues. And
yeah, you had the powder blue. I'm saying that you had the red shoes, but you didn't have powder blue shoes like Reese did.
No. Oh, those are awesome.
But the white shoes wouldn't look good with the powder blue.
No, I agree with that.
No, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Well, remember, we had the stirrups back then, too.
Yeah.
There's a walk to Brian Anderson. First walk of the night for Phil's pitching. JT Realmuto's spot is held by Brian Holiday, so Holiday will bat here for the first time. By the way, this is the first time that Adam's been in since he came back from paternity leave. He and his wife Rachel welcomed their first child. Congratulations to them. Got a fastball in, 1-0. There's Jim Gott.
Happiest guy in the world.
Just celebrated a birthday. Forgot to wish him happy birthday the other day when he celebrated. 1-2. $35,194 on hand tonight to witness the Wall of Fame ceremonies before the ball game. And an offensive explosion for the Phils, home run wise. Popped up. Santana gives a look and will be back into the crowd. Nice play. Boers on deck. Two and two to Brian Holiday. And a line drive to right field. Williams makes the catch. 2 away.
Isn't that the way it goes when you're losing 8-3? Line drives at people.
Yeah, he hit that ball right on the nose too.
Well, as Molly used to say, we got a man there.
I hope you run into him one day.
We got a man there.
You could tell that you've been talking about him on the air.
Yeah.
Runner goes from first. Pitches over the head of Justin Bour.
That was a backup slider.
Sure was. And now a quick meeting to go over the signs since there's a runner at second now. Nationals lost game 1, leading game 2 over the Reds. They're 6 back. The Mets right now, well, the Mets have defeated the Braves, so the Braves are 1 back right now.
Does that make you mad, John? Late in the game, 5 runs down, last out of the game. Fastball over your head.
I wouldn't be real happy with that. I don't think that was a fastball, was it?
No, I thought it was kind of a backup slider.
Yeah,
But I don't know if the batter knows that.
Fouled away, so 1-2. One ball and 2 strikes. He throws the bat at it and fouls it away.
Bohr fouled a ball off earlier his last at bat that went over our heads into the upper deck.
Yes.
Do you see many of those?
We saw one actually last homestand, but not many, no.
Right. Oh. Good launch angle foul.
It's up there.
It was. 1-2.
There's a powder blue.
Oh, love those. I didn't like the zipper though.
Swing and a miss. 96 on the fastball. And the Phils have won 4 consecutive games. Their lead in the division is up to a game and a half. They win it 8-3 over the Marlins. Time of the game, 2 hours and 20 minutes. It's the shortest game of the season. Previous short one was 2:24 on June 2nd. Game started a little later because of the Wall of Fame ceremonies. The Phils, what a good one tonight. Gabe Kapler said, I think this is an important win or important ball game. Partly because they had taken the first 2, had beaten the Red Sox in the final game of that series, but there was also a lot of emotion in the ballpark. Big crowd. And the Phils came out. They came out whacking the baseball tonight. Nick Williams, the first one. That was in the first inning. A 3-run shot.
Yeah, went with that outside fastball. A 370-footer to left center. Cabrera reaches down and catches that backdoor slider and throws it into the right field stand. Boom, this is a monster.
Almost in the same spot.
Few rows back in the upper deck. That's deep. 2-0 fastball that was, and Cesar Hernandez gets back in the act. Second hit of the night. And here's Murph with Cesar.
All right, thank you very much, guys. Here with Cesar Hernandez, and Diego Otegi is going to help us out as well. And another win for this team. You got things started with the base hit early on, and also the power stroke from the right side. Your first home run of the season from the right side. Looked like you were seeing the ball pretty well tonight.
Viendo la pelota mejor, tú metiste el primer jonrón al lado derecho. ¿Qué está pasando ahora con la ofensiva del equipo?
So, you know, so I get a base hit in the fair IB, so 2 days, 3 days ago, I got to be lost in the play, but now I can get it back and until I can help with the team.
How good was Zach Eflin tonight? I think 10 ground balls at the infield. You guys behind him, but so important to be solid when he's on the mound, right?
Habla de lo bien que estuvo Zach Eflin, que tuvo 10 roletazos en el infield, de lo chévere que es trabajar detrás de él, pues.
Yeah, you know, every time, always when he pitching, all the pitching or the other guys pitching, that's fun because they get a lot of ground ball. So that's fun when you receive a lot of ground ball in the game. So everybody see that if we do it tonight, do a great job and they win team.
3 straight wins against this Marlins team. You have Aaron Nola on the mound tomorrow. A great way to start to start and finish this homestand is beating these teams that are coming here to Citizens Bank.
Habla un poco lo que significa para ti que mañana picha Nola, ya le ganaron 3 juegos a los Marlins, lo bien que entonces terminar la serie así contra ellos.
Yeah, you know, you can't conform with that, so I 3 win in a row. So I will see what happens tomorrow. So I know Nola's really good, but you know that's the baseball. So sometimes we're gonna be crazy. So I hope they win for not with this series.
I know you guys will show up and play well. All right, Cesar, thanks for your time. Appreciate it. Guys, back upstairs.
All right, Murph, thank you very much. The Phillies win it 8-3. Our Chevrolet player of the game is the guy that probably could have finished this game. He had 85 pitches, and that's Zach Eflin. Mike, he was outstanding tonight.
Yeah, he was. Like Jake Arrieta told him, attack the hitters. Nice athletic play there you saw by Zach. Stayed ahead of people the whole night. Got a lot of nice ground balls. Got a lot of runs to work with. He knew how to pitch with a big lead. The nice high fastball to 2 strikes on hitters to get strikeouts. Laid down a perfect sacrifice bunt in the game. He did it all. He did it all with 85 pitches.
Yeah, very efficient. I think he needed this too. His last 3 starts were not like the previous ones. But he's back on track. The Phillies continue to move on a nice track. They win at 8-3. We'll wrap it up when we get back.